What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about the 2020 Toyota Supra and all of the BMW aspects to this car. If you're unfamiliar with the car, basically Toyota and BMW paired up to come up with the new 2020 Supra. So there are quite a few BMW things to this. It is actually built in Germany right alongside the new Z4. So first and foremost, we're going to start with just the basics on the exterior. Where are the BMW pieces? First up, the door handle I believe is the exact same one you get on a Z4 or other modern BMWs. These mirrors look to be the exact same ones that the Z4 has, power folding, the LED strip. On top of that, the front brake calipers look like the same ones that the M Sport BMWs have. If we take a look at the gas cap, most people might not notice, this is definitely the same gas cap BMWs have. So those are pretty much the only exterior things that I have found that makes this a BMW. The bodywork is definitely a Toyota. So we're going to start with the driver side, looking at the door panel. All these controls right here are definitely right out of a BMW. The automatic windows, the mirror controls, the actual controller. The door handle I think is the same one you get in the Z4. It looks really cool though. And then moving inside on the seat, all the controls on the seat, the memory seating, the power adjustments. Looking at the headlight controls, this also looks very familiar. The stalks on the steering wheel for your turn signal, the different mode buttons, all the buttons on the steering wheel. This looks like a little bit older 3 Series steering wheel. The actual shifter, the infotainment dial, all the buttons down below, all the climate controls, the radio controls up here. And then if we look at the touchscreen as well, this is right out of a BMW, as you can see with everything. If we look up here, these are all right out of them. And I think that is about it for the interior. The actual design of it is not like a BMW. It's just mainly the switchgear. Now, actually, I'll go ahead and show you this. This is right out of a BMW, the double latch. And typical BMW fashion, you pull that latch twice. There is no hood latch, so simply lifting this up. There are some BMW logos that I have found. Over on the throttle body, we get a logo right there. On this cable right here, it says BMW. By your VIN number, there's a stamping with the BMW logo. Looking at the sensor for the air intake, it says BMW right there on the plastic. This foam insulation pad says BMW on it as well. I haven't messed with the engine cover. Let's see if this just pops off or not. Now we have the actual engine. First time looking at this, and looks like these are the coil packs that all say BMW right on them. But oh, there we go, another sensor that says BMW. Moving around to this side, there's a logo right there. And yeah, definitely more than I can see. I'm sure there are plenty of other logos, but I think that's basically all the BMW I can find on the car. So on top of what I just showed you, the backup camera graphics, parking sensor graphics, all that kind of stuff is right out of BMW. So that is all very familiar. The way the shifter works, the way you change gears. And then the last similarity is the smell. It smells just like a new BMW. If you've ever been to the dealership and sat in a brand new one, you know the smell. Very familiar. So then, with all that said, going over the hard parts that are actually parts bins things from BMW, in all honesty, I don't really care that much. From my opinion, it seems like it's as if this has never happened before. If you go look at a brand new Aston Martin, guess what? The whole power plant of it is Mercedes AMG. All the interior infotainment and technology is right from Mercedes. You go look at a brand new Lamborghini, it's all Audi. You know, Lamborghini got to design the car, make it fast, make it look amazing and sound amazing. Audi control all of the interior technology and the fact that it's actually a reliable car. So it's not like this is uncommon. There's a lot of cars out there that have two completely different companies that build something together. Now I know why a lot of Supra purists hate that with this car, that it's not a Toyota engine, transmission, everything's Toyota. You know, this is a German car, even though the iconic Supra was such a Japanese import sports car that in America we really loved. But if you look at costs and how it actually works to manufacture a car, building a brand new engine, that's a lot of time and money. And if we look at Toyota, it's not like they actually produce any type of performance vehicle. They have a 3.5 liter V6, a V8, and a few hybrids and 4 cylinders. They don't have performance engines whatsoever. And it's been nearly 3 decades since they actually developed the 2JZ engine, the 1JZ engine. Those are very, very old in terms of what modern cars have to comply with to actually be legally sold in the United States. There are so many things they have to comply with. Remapping a 30-year-old engine, that's just probably way too much work than they could even think of doing. On top of that, I don't think we would really want Toyota's first go at a new performance engine right now. They don't even make any turbo vehicles. So to want a Toyota engine, as much as yes, that would be cool, a 3JZ engine, you know, brand new Toyota turbocharged inline six, I don't know how well of an engine that would be. I doubt it would actually be that good, just because they don't have any practice doing that. They've been out of that game for so long. They're focused on pumping out 500,000 RAV4s every year. This car, maybe 10,000 a year. Sports cars in general are just such a tiny percentage of what cars are actually being sold for as new cars. It's not really worth the manufacturer's time to actually produce a sports car. I mean, 500,000 Camrys, 500,000 RAV4s, 250,000 Tacomas. A car that might sell 5,000 to 10,000 in a year is a car they're not going to make a penny on. So that's just a lot of time and money for Toyota to actually build an engine. And I don't really have high faith that it would actually end up being a good engine, just because it would take a lot of time. And I don't know, I'm not too hopeful with that. So what I think, and the benefit of having this Toyota engine, or having this BMW engine in this Toyota basically went to who is the best in the industry at performance inline six-cylinder turbocharged engines. Hands down, BMW. They have been making these types of engines forever, basically. I don't know the last time they didn't make an inline turbocharged engine. And for a Toyota Supra, we would hate this car if it had a V6, a V8, a Turbo 4, a Hybrid 4, a Hybrid 6, whatever. It has to have an inline turbo engine. That's Toyota Supra. So while the brand does not line up with what we really want, the engine lines up, because it's a turbocharged inline six. How can you hate on that? That is traditional for the Supra, and Toyota went with a company that has specialized in making very good performance engines. This engine already, we're seeing it pumping out so much power. A basic tune and an exhaust, we're over 500 horsepower and torque at the rear wheels. That is a ton of power, and now 2 months later you throw on a turbo, we're over 600. That is the claim to fame with the Mark IV Supra. That's one of the reasons why us tuner people absolutely fell in love with the car, honestly, after it was even done being produced, is because you could modify that thing. It was a very built motor, very tough engine, and you could put a lot of stuff into it. Same with this engine for the new Supra. It has forged internals. The whole engineering behind this engine is very race car inspired. So Toyota did a good job getting a good engine. So then moving on to interior technology, obviously we have BMW infotainment. We have BMW safety system as well. The pre-collision, the lane keeping assist, the radar cruise control, all that kind of stuff. This is from a BMW. And if we look at technology in cars nowadays, unfortunately technology is kind of what makes or breaks a lot of cars. While this is a sports car, I bought it for a sports car, it is really hard to be competitive if your technology sucks. For me, I don't really care about that technology, but to buy a car for $58,000, I better get all this type of technology in it, just because that's a lot of money on a car that doesn't have that. And if we look at Toyota and Lexus, it's not like they have the best technology out there. You look at the Lexus infotainment system, you know, the most expensive Toyota you can buy, you have a crappy screen with low resolution, the little mouse pad thing is hard to deal with, it's just not good at all. BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, hands down, are the best in the industry when it comes to interior infotainment systems. And if this car came out with just the Toyota stuff in it, the Lexus stuff in it, it would be subpar, it would be outdated already. And to make a new car that is already going to be outdated, that's just not a good decision. So to have the best of the best in here as far as technology goes and safety features, that is a really big plus side. So then another thing to talk about is the actual production. Think about this, Toyota adding a whole new assembly line to actually produce this car. Think about the cost associated with building an entire factory, assembly line, whatever, to build a very low volume car. That again is a ton of money, and last thing we want is for the new Supra to be a flop like the NSX, twice as much as it really should have been. That just would have been horrible. If this was a $125,000 car, I mean, I wouldn't even think of buying it. That'd just be a complete ripoff. And working with BMW, having this literally built right with the Z4, that's not really too much of a stress on BMW as a company. They're already producing a low volume sports car, and it actually makes their jobs a little bit easier to now ramp up the volume having the Supra alongside it. They're just throwing in the Toyota tuned engine and suspension and throwing on the Toyota body, and bam, they have two cars to produce now in the same area. So for BMW and Toyota, that just was a really good partnership as far as the actual logistics and manufacturing process of pumping out a low volume sports car. So then with all of that said, what are my real opinions of it? So I'm driving this now. We were going to go into sport mode and manual. The things things I notice when I'm driving this car, I don't look around and think, oh my gosh, look at all this BMW stuff. I'm in a BMW this, BMW that. I look at it like, look at all this nice technology, this really nice, high quality feeling switchgear, an infotainment system that is easy to use. I have all this nice technology in my new car. That to me is a plus side, because spending the money on this car, again, I better be getting my money's worth. And to have one of the best infotainment and technology features in this car is a good selling point, because when I use it, it works very well. And then with performance, this car is tuned by Toyota to be a good handling car. And when you take turns that are very quick, it darts wherever you want it to go. The car really handles incredibly well, and I am blown away with how good it is. And you still get the refined ride. And then real quick, as we get boring roads before more fun roads, the quality is another big thing. So while Toyota sourced this engine from BMW, they took it apart and reworked it with their own gaskets and seals and coolant lines to make it to where this is going to pass their quality control. And we all know Toyota is very good at having a reliable car, and I'm pretty confident this should be very reliable. So as far as Toyota's interaction, they took the engine from BMW that is a good high-performance engine, tweaked it to make it reliable, and then tuned it to be actually way more powerful and incredibly fun to drive. They did all the suspension tuning to make this handle very well. This car really turns on a dime, brakes good, the steering input is fantastic, and then it's all wrapped in a modern Toyota Supra looking body. Some people hate the design of it. I personally think this car is beautiful. I love the sculpture to it, just all the curves. There's something you don't see in most cars. And in my opinion, it kind of looks like a Ferrari 812. Again, that's all subjective. Some of you hate it, I know, but to me, there is not an ugly angle. It just looks amazing in every aspect. And when I'm driving the car, I'm not sitting here thinking, you know, this is a BMW engine, where's my Supra engine? Instead, I'm thinking, man, this thing sounds good. It pops every downshift, and when I hit the gas, it puts a smile on my face because it's fast and fun and handles well. It looks good. You know, for me, it kind of ticks all the boxes as far as a really fun to drive sports car, and kind of has everything you need. And in 2020, you know, this is the market we're in. We're not in the 90s, you know, things have changed over the last 2-3 decades to where they couldn't just stick in an old engine and call it a day. That's impossible. When you just look at the cost associated to building a car, the manufacturing, where are you actually going to build this car, what kind of technology you're going to use, how are you going to make this car competitive in the market, I think Toyota nailed it. I think the partnership was fantastic. They took what you get with Toyota, which are really good cars, they look good, they are great in quality, but then they took what BMW is good for, high performance and fun. You blend that together, that is a partnership that I am very happy to be a part of. And so I think that is going to wrap up today's video, going over all the BMW that is in the Toyota Supra. It is getting a little bit old, people saying nice BMW. I see the comments. Guys, we've been seeing those comments for 2 months. Be a little bit more original if you are going to insult the car. But I'm perfectly fine with people saying that because it does translate into a fun to drive, really powerful, technology loaded sports car that gets to wear the badge Toyota Supra. And to me, I think this is a really good interpretation of a modern Toyota Supra, the car that we all loved back in the 90s. But that is going to wrap up today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Give the video a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and we will see you all